In this video, I'm going to take the coloring book pages we created in the last video and organize them into one document ready to upload to Amazon. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Caroline and I make videos to help you master your mindset and make money online so that you can build a life you love. If you do enjoy videos like this, please take a moment to subscribe. It really helps a small channel like mine. And don't forget to click the bell so that you do get notified whenever I upload new videos just like this. In my last video, I showed you how to create the coloring book images or the individual coloring pages that we are going to put in our coloring book interior. In that video, I went over 3 different ways that you can create coloring book images. So if you haven't seen that video yet, I'll pop a link to that in the top of the screen so that you can go watch that one as well. So now I'm going to take all those images that I would have created for my coloring book interior and put them together into one document. Now personally, I use Microsoft Word because that's what I know how to use. I've used it for years and years, and it's just what I know. I do know quite a few people in the low content book industry use Microsoft PowerPoint or even Canva, but personally I only know the basics of PowerPoint and I don't know enough to get books made quickly. So for me, this is the quickest and easiest way that I can get books made. So firstly, you need to set your document size and page margins for your book interior. You can get all your margins and setup information from the KDP website. In this case, I'm creating a coloring book that's 8.5 inch by 11 inch because honestly, that's the size of the majority of what's already selling on Amazon, so there's no need to change something that isn't broken. You need to take into account whether you need to add bleed to your pages. This is the difference between a page with bleed and without. A page with bleed, which is this one down here, is where the image goes right to the edge of the page and bleeds over the edge. A page without bleed is where there is a white space between your image or the text and the edge of the page. And the margins are different for each. So first of all, I'm setting my page size in the document properties. And I already have these set up in my Word account as templates, and I usually always go with the bleed because I usually have at least one page that does have some bleed on it, and so you need to add I believe it's 1/2 inch to your margins to account for the bleed. And so these are the sizes that you'll need to set your page if you're using an 8.5 by 11 inch with bleed. All this information is on the Amazon website. Okay, so then we need to set our pages as mirror margins because that's what Amazon requires. And our book is going to have less than 150 pages. And so we need to set the inside gutter margins as 9.6 millimeters. And then we need to look at this outside margin because I'm having bleed on my book, so it needs to be 9.6 millimeters on the outside as well. Set my top and bottom to 1.27 centimeters. Okay, then I view as multiple pages because then you can see easily which page is going to be the left-hand side of the page and which is going to be the right. Just makes your layout a lot easier. I usually add a few pages. So what I would usually do is leave the first couple pages blank and then start adding my coloring book images down here. Now that we have our page size and margins all set up, we're good to go and start adding our coloring images to the document. Again, this is what I do. I'm sure there are other ways to do it, probably easier ways than how I do it, but again, I'm self-taught with Microsoft Word, and so this is the way that I find the easiest and the quickest. What I do is I add a text box. I remove the outline because I don't want a border. You can also use the shape tool as well by drawing a square shape. And then I just set the background image as a picture, and I choose the coloring page that I want to use. And then I just adjust it so it doesn't look distorted. I just double check it's not outside of my margins. Then I align the image to the center of the page and the middle so that it's centered on the page. That's it. Now, if you want to just add it as an image directly to the page, you can do that too. I personally find it a little bit harder to adjust the image the way I want it, but it is an option. So here I can see that's my margin, and you can see that the text down the bottom there is going to be cut off because I've made the image too big. So that's the second one, and add it as an image. And again, you could also add it within a text box or shape if you wanted to as well. The reason I do like using the text box method and adding it as a background image to a text box or shape is that if you did want bleed, so if I wanted this image to bleed off the page, that's how you can do it, whereas an image you can't bleed off the page. So I'll show you what I mean. So if I wanted my image to print like this, that's the best and easiest way to do that. And that is basically it. You just keep adding text boxes or adding images into your document until you've filled up your coloring book interior. Now, just as a note, if I was creating an adult coloring book page, then I add a black page to the back of each coloring page. Kids coloring books don't usually do this. So as this book is aimed at kids, I haven't added the black pages, but I will add them in adult coloring books. I'll show you what I mean. I just do the same thing. I add a text box or a shape. This one I make larger than the page because I want it to bleed. And then I fill it with a black color. And that's basically how you create a coloring book which has an image on one page and a black on the back, so that when they're coloring in, their pens don't bleed through onto the image on the back if there was an image on the back. So adults will pretty much always buy a coloring book that has black pages, and if it doesn't, they probably won't buy it. So once I have added all my images, I usually just add an internal cover page here on this first page. So this is the first page that your customer would see after they open the cover, and this I'll usually create an interior cover page, or it might just say this colouring book belongs to and have some images. And then over here I would put a copyright page or a copyright notice. So in the real world, when I'm creating a colouring book, I would spend a lot more time on this interior cover page and obviously have more detail in the copyright. That's not what I would have in my copyright, but just to show you basics of how I would set it out, that's how I would do it. And so that is basically it. Then we would just save as a PDF. And that's it. You have a colouring book interior ready to upload to Amazon. If you have any questions about creating your coloring book interior, please pop them down in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them if I can. I hope you enjoyed this video and the last one on creating a coloring book interior for Amazon. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.